When is the best time of day to drink water to improve fat loss? Sounds like one of the cheesiest things I could ever say, but based upon relatively new research, we're starting to understand that water does increase our energy expenditure, and it does so in a pretty unique way. So I looked at a study that was published in the European Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism. Very interesting, because it found that when subjects consumed 500 milliliters of water compared to 500 milliliters of osmotic saline, 500 milliliters of water increased their energy expenditure 25% for 60 minutes, meaning it increased their metabolic rate 25% for 60 whole minutes, whereas osmotic saline did not. The reason this is really important is because we used to think that drinking water would increase thermogenesis, our metabolism, simply because it had to heat up the water. Well, this flies in the face of that, because now we see, well, when it's saline, it would still have to heat up, but that didn't trigger a metabolic effect. But we realize now it has more to do with what are called osmosensitive structures. So basically, the decrease in osmolarity by absorbing water into structures is actually what's increasing the metabolism. So that's why saline doesn't really increase the metabolism, albeit saline is tremendous for hydration because it absorbs faster. So it's kind of like, shoot, where do we find the balance? Being adequately hydrated in general helps us burn fat, but the mere act of drinking straight water and the difficulty of drinking straight water is actually what increases the metabolic rate a little bit. So here's two schools of thought. If you get up in the morning, you want to drink regular straight up water. Okay, drink about 1 liter of straight up water. And the reason you want to do this is because it's going to increase that metabolic rate first thing in the morning without you having to do anything. Whenever possible, try to get through part of your workout in somewhat of a fasted state and somewhat of just a straight up water hydrated state before adding electrolytes in. I like my electrolytes, but I also feel like we need to have a place where we just add water in. So by getting up in the morning, just having water and not having sodium prior to working out, we might be able to get a little bit more of this energy expenditure. Now, the other thing that we have to factor in is that if you are dehydrated, it's harder for your body to liberate fats, okay? So if you're gonna be doing any kind of endurance work or anything like that, you are better off being adequately hydrated before you do cardio. And this is simply because when you're dehydrated, you do not liberate fats as well, and you keep triglycerides stored in the tissue easier because you have less glycerol turnover. This is a very fancy way of saying you're drawing glycerol into a cell, which increases triglycerides and increases sort of how many triglycerides are in a cell and reduces the amount that can actually be released to be burned for fat. So what am I saying with this? Okay, bottom line is simple. Roll out of bed, drink straight water, and that's going to increase that resting energy expenditure. Then wait for a little while, work out if you want to, but halfway through your workout, that's when you would add the electrolytes in. If you can wait until after your workout, that might even be a better time to add electrolytes in. But you have to ask yourself this question. It comes down to an equation. If you want more fat loss, you're almost better to just drink the water. If you want more hydration and performance, you might want to drink the water with the electrolytes. So it comes a balance with that. The electrolytes that I recommend, I put down below. They're called LMNT. Drink LMNT.com. So these again are going to be really, really good intra-workout, or especially when you are fasted and you just need to keep hydrated. So that link down below gets you a free sample pack of LMNT along with any purchase. So they've got mango chili flavor, they've got chocolate salt, they've got watermelon salt, a bunch of different flavors. My personal favorite is the lemon salt, the lemon lime salt, super good, the citrus one. So anyway, that link down below, drinklmnt.com, gets you a free sample pack along with any purchase. Now, when you are in a fasted state or you're not eating or you're doing low carb, sure, you can drink water and increase your resting energy expenditure. But during that time, it's more important to remain hydrated. So the two sides we balance, getting hydrated to actually make fat loss easier versus drinking water to induce fat loss, right? So we want to drink water to induce fat loss whenever we are going to be just going for a little walk or really kind of increasing that metabolic rate to begin with. We want to have just straight water in between meals if we're not fasting, things like that, because that's when we can get a nice spike. So what I recommend is sipping on electrolytes throughout the course of the day, keeping you hydrated, making it easy to assimilate that water so that fat loss can easily occur, and then periodically having spikes of just straight water without electrolytes to induce the thermic effect, or this sort of osmosensitive group effect, right? So that way you have this balance. You're remaining hydrated at a baseline, but you have these quick spikes right before exercise or right before walking or just throughout the course of the day. As always, keep it locked in here on my channel. See you tomorrow.